by Allykitty. Princess, a voice piped up behind me. They're ready for you now. I turned and looked at the young earth pony mare standing behind me, her face soft with intelligent eyes. Thank you, River, I said, rising from my seat. Will you be recording notes for the session? The mare shook her head as we walked down the hallways of the palace. Nah, not today, she replied, a trace of lilt to her voice. Ma and I are catching the train to Folksmill later this afternoon. I smiled at her, glancing back at the young mare's cutie mark, sheets of music with a closed book under them. Going to get a bit of background history on your mom's music? Among other things, the mare said, bowing as we reached the council chamber doors. Your Highness? Enjoy your trip, River, I said, pushing the doors open and stepping inside. Sunset, how good to see you, Twilight said as she stepped over. I still had trouble coming to terms with how we had all grown. The two of us now stood taller than Cadence had those 20 years ago, and both our manes were starting to take on the shimmering aura of magic that the two sisters had held in all of my memories of them. It's good to see you too, Twilight, I said, giving her a hug before turning to Cadence. And you as well, Empress. Cadence tilted her head, now matching height with Luna and Celestia. I looked at the two sisters and bowed my head in deference to the eternal rulers of Equestria. It is good to see you, Sunset, Celestia said, with subtle hints of love and humor in her voice. I trust the trip was pleasant? Much more pleasant than 10 years ago, Princess Celestia, I said, easing into the chair left for me at the table. The sole remaining chair was conspicuously empty. And where is our youngest member? I said, glancing at Cadence. She's off gallivanting across the tundra with Shining, she said, sighing in a way I knew all too well. She said she'd rather go exploring with Daddy than sit at tea with us stuffy old mares. We all shared a laugh at that. Well, she always has been more for hooves on than reports, Luna said, traces of her old accent and archaic speech gone. I trust that Flurryheart is where she should be. Speaking of foals, Cadence said, spearing me with a look, where have you stashed yours this time? Dew and Glory are watching them along with Sunshine, I said, helping myself to the tea on the table. The girls haven't got to spend a whole lot of time with each other since they started high school back home. It's good for them to be able to enjoy this time. My eyes weren't seeing the table anymore. We didn't really get the chance at their age. The table fell silent, all of us remembering the harpies, the emergence of a rogue changeling nation, and Sombra's heir. In some cases, the fact that there had been 5 alicorns to help defend the land had been the only edge we had. Okay, that's enough of that, Twilight said, refilling her teacup. We're here to enjoy each other's company, not grump about the past. She glanced around at each of us, her smile infectious. So let's cheer up and drink to the day. I chuckled and raised my cup up in my amber aura, being joined by 4 others in magenta, yellow, teal, and pink. I was watching my mentor and teacher performing her duty on a balcony in Ponyville later, a lot of thoughts whirling in my mind. Mom, a voice whispered, Aunts Dew and Glory want to say their goodbye before they leave. I turned and looked at my oldest child, Midnight Sky. The portal had changed her into an incredibly beautiful young filly, one that the pony rarity had always wanted to have modeled for her, despite the fact that she leaned more towards Applejack's mindset. Her sister, on the other hand... Coming, I said, turning and shutting the doors. Where's Aurora? She's down with Mother and Ebony, enjoying the last of the cookies. I nodded. It figured that Ebony would try to get one last taste of Aunt Sunshine's cookies, especially when Aurora had helped make them. Bit for your thoughts, Mom? I glanced down at her. Goddess, it felt so odd to be so tall, even now. Nothing, my little filly. I reached down and touched my horn to hers, love and peace flowing through. Just a lot of memories. She returned the flow of feelings as we reached the foyer of the Castle of Friendship. I spied my wife of nearly 19 years clearing platters from a side table with the help of Spike. I smiled at the mare, seeing her tilt her head to look slightly up at the adolescent dragon. He was leaner, and from what the resources gained from his friendship with the Dragon Lord Emperor said, he wasn't going to grow much more for a few decades yet. "Hi, Auntie Sunset," Ebony said, tossing her messy raven mane behind her dusty brown shoulder. "Hi, Ebony," I said, nuzzling her briefly before reaching over and mussing Aurora's mane with a hoof. "Mom," she complained, horn flaring up to fix the damage. "My coiffure!" "Sometimes I wonder if we had Rarity babysit too often," Sunshine said as she came up behind me and touched her horn to mine. She had also grown slightly, though she hadn't sprouted wings. It appears only natives to Equestria could, despite the lengths she had gone through to defend it. It had granted her regency over the castle in Ponyville and the honorary title of Duchess through her marriage to me. If that were the fact, shouldn't Midnight be more like Fluttershy? I said in a stage whisper. Midnight leveled a look at me that I recognized her in the mirror, her navy blue coat making the 3 magenta stars of her cutie mark stand out as she turned to face me. "All right, come along, you lot," I said, herding my family out to the doors to see my sisters off. Ebony was going to be spending the weekend with us, enjoying a slow weekend out in Manhattan to watch Auntie Rarity's new line get debuted. The two Rarities had collaborated on this for some time, though the pony fashionista declined traveling this time. "I simply have so much to do at the new Van Hoover store, and Meadow is supposed to be trying out for the Wonderbolts, so I cannot simply miss that," she said. My sisters were just loading their bags onto a trolley when we arrived at the station, Ebony running up and giving her mother a hug. "Now, you behave for your aunts this weekend," Eb, Dew said, horn flaring to adjust some of her filly's perpetually messy mane out of the way. "Just as much as you'd mind your father and I, if not more." Yeah, the filly said. "I know, Mum." Glory walked over, touching horns with me and Sunshine each. "So great to see you both again," she said. She wore the gray in her mane stylishly, as always. "It's a shame I couldn't get Soren and Wingsong to swing by." "Well, Soren does have new recruits to whip into shape, and Wingsong can't slack off under Rainbow's command either. We'll see them both next time." Dew came over and offered us hugs as well before they boarded the train. Aurora gave a Rarity-esque toss to her mane and turned, her flute and music staff cutie mark glinting slightly in the moonlit sky. "So, when's our next visit?" she asked. Sunshine adjusted her glasses, an age-old motion that I could mimic without thought now. "Well, the Summer Sun celebration's in a few weeks," she said. "We could come over for that." "Well, I told Applejack I'd help buck a few bushels of apples the next time I'm on this side," Midnight said. "So that works for me." "Sounds good to me," I said. "Rory?" Aurora nodded. "Then it's a plan." I was sitting on the bed, flipping through a photo album as Twilight braided her hair. Photos of Twilight, pregnant with Midnight, and photos of her as a toddler on both sides of the mirror. Me, pregnant with Aurora, Ebony up on my back between my wings. The 3 girls standing grinning on both sides of the mirror, arms or forelegs thrown over each other's shoulders. "They grow up so fast," Twilight murmured against my shoulder. I nodded. "But the truth of the matter is, no matter how fast, each of these memories are etched in my mind like crystal." Twilight reached an arm over my shoulder and shut the book. "Speaking of," she said, "have you gotten Midnight's graduation gift ready?" I nodded. "It's part of what we took care of at the gathering," I said. "Twilight said she could have it fully infused in a week." I turned and laid back down. "But it'll take another moon to cure in the collar." "Well then," she said, stretching out next to me as the sound of 3 teen girls giggling in the upstairs bedrooms filtered through the air. "Nothing to worry about then." She glanced at the dresser, the various pictures from the last 2 decades filling it, along with a picture of my mom and I that had survived my flight from Equestria, in a gold frame with her and my cutie marks engraved along it with our names. "We're lucky, you know," she whispered as we held each other. "Good friends, gorgeous daughters, good jobs." She looked at me. "Moderately attractive princess for a wife," she teased. She earned a poke on the nose for it. We've come through a lot to get to this, I said, but even with the scars and the memories that I'd gladly forget, I love who I am and who I have. Some of it was horrible, I said, remembering the fight against Sorla, daughter of Sombra. But if changing it meant losing any of those girls, I'd gladly endure it all again. Twilight rubbed her hand along my side, the faint scars of a Sarek's talons barely visible now 20 years later. I reached my arm under her neck and felt the slightly puckered scar just above where her wings would have been. We're both a little grizzled, she said. War does that to a woman, I quipped. Chrysalis, Sorla, Asarak, Gloriosa. I pulled her into a kiss. I was about to say something else when a thudding crash came from upstairs, sending both of us headed for the stairs in the living room of the house. Teenagers, I muttered as we started up the stairs. You know you love them, Twilight said. She was right. 32 faces flitted through my mind's eye. Friends, nieces, nephews, godchildren, all of them my family. Every last one of them. Hey everybody, I just want to thank you for listening to my reading of Crystal. I really appreciate you guys coming out and showing support by watching my videos. The video description will contain the link to this story and my page on friendshipismagicfiction.com. And starting with the next video that I'm about to finish posting, I will be taking open requests. So if you have a story you want me to read, whether it be My Little Pony or not, please go ahead and drop that down in the comments. If you like what you hear, you like the series I'm doing, go ahead and give me a like or a subscribe. And I will see you at the next reading.